Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to perform to-look OLL, and this is actually a very easy way of orienting the edges and the corners of the last layer without having to memorize all the 57 algorithms that are in full OLL. So I'm going to be taking a look at all the 10 scenarios, 3 scenarios for the first look and 7 scenarios for the second look. And at the end of this video, you should be able to orient the last layer successfully. Now, if you're at this point in this video and you're not able to solve the first 2 layers already, there's a good video on the channel that shows people how to intuitively solve the first 2 layers using the C4 method. So I recommend that you check that video out, and then you can come back to this video and orient the last layer. So I'm going to be taking a look at the first 3 scenarios for the first look, and here's the first one. So here you can see an L shape, and you can also check the illustration on the screen to know where the other pieces are likely positioned. And if you get this scenario, you just have to place the cube this way and perform the algorithm you see on the screen. Okay, so that's all for that first scenario. Here's the second scenario. So in this scenario, there's just a dash or a line or whatever else you can call this, but very easily recognizable here. You can see that in this case, there's just a straight line through the middle, and sometimes you might see some other yellow pieces like around here. So just ignore those pieces, but very importantly, if there's a dash like this, you place the cube like this, or you can place it the other way, it doesn't matter, and you can perform this algorithm on the screen. Okay, so that's all for the second scenario. Now here's the third scenario. Third scenario is just a dot in the middle, and here you can see there is another yellow piece here. We can completely ignore that piece because at this point we just want to solve all the edge pieces and make all this yellow. So you can see that has not been done. So you're just going to perform any of those algorithms that I've already shown you. So I'm going to pick, for example, the first one. And once you do that, it's going to produce the other scenario, which is this one that I've already shown you. And in this scenario, you just perform the algorithm for this scenario, and that's going to be this. And now you can see all the edge pieces have been solved for the last layer. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to the next look. And already you can see there's a scenario forming for us. And in this scenario, all the edge pieces have been solved on the top layer. So we just need to orient the corners. So orienting the corners means you just want here to be yellow, 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 yellow. And for this particular scenario, you can see it looks like a cross, and there's some extra yellow pieces to the side that look exactly like that. There's some to the side that look exactly like this. So in this scenario, you're going to position the cube exactly how you're seeing it on the screen, and you're going to perform this sequence of steps. So it's going to be okay. So I really like the precision of these algorithms, because unlike some other videos where you might be told that there are certain shortcuts that you can use that would avoid memorizing more algorithms but will still give you this result, you would not have to, in this case, do these algorithms multiple times. You just have to do it one time and then it works. Okay, so I've shown you one scenario so far, so I'm going to show you another scenario, and this is the scenario. So in this case, you can see there's a cross and all the edges have been solved. Now it's just remaining these 2 corners and these 2 corners. So before it was yellow to this side and yellow this way, but now yellow is on this side. So in this case, you're going to flip the cube like this, and obviously you can do it like this as well because this is a perfectly symmetrical scenario. So you can now use this algorithm you can see on the screen to orient the last layer. Now you can see the last layer has been oriented. Okay, so 2 scenarios down, 5 more to go. So let's look at this one. This one kind of looks like a fish. I think there's an official name for all the scenarios, but I'm not going to mention that necessarily because that's not how I remember them. It's purely visual. I just look at the cube and I know which scenario it is. So if you look at the illustration on the screen now, you can see that in this case there are two scenarios that could potentially turn out to be like this, like the fish, but the only difference is where the yellow pieces are placed surrounding that fish on the side. So in this case, we can see that there's yellow here, there's yellow here, and there's yellow here. So that shows me that we are in this scenario where I have to hold the cube like this, and then I'm going to perform this algorithm in order to complete orienting the last layer. So it's going to be, and that's all. Okay, so we'll move on to the next scenario. And next scenario, like I said, looks like a fish as well, but here you can see yellow is placed like this, and like this, and like this. So that shows me, based on the illustration on the screen again, that I have to use this algorithm. And the last layer has been oriented successfully. So 4 down, 3 more to go. So I'm going to show you this one. So here you can see everything else is solved. So we have our edge pieces solved. It's just remaining just 2 corners that are diagonally opposite to each other. And in this case, we'll take a look and see that there is no yellow here. So the algorithm that solves this is this algorithm that you can see on the screen. So it's going to be this. And you can see that just by doing that, we've oriented the last layer. Okay, so move on to the next one. All right, so this is the next scenario, and this is the second to the last one we're going to be looking at. So this scenario, edges are solved, these 2 corners are solved, just meaning these 2 corners here. And we look at the placement of the yellow piece, the yellow face of the piece. And here you can see this yellow on this side, this yellow on that side. So that means, based on this illustration you see on the screen, that we should hold the cube this way, and then we'll perform this algorithm, and that should orient the last layer from here. So that's going to be okay. And just by doing that, we have oriented the last layer. And I'm going to move on to the final scenario. All right, so the last scenario looks like this. So all the edges have been solved. These 2 corners are solved, but these 2 corners are left, but the yellow on those 2 corner pieces are facing this way instead of facing that way as it was showing before in the last scenario. So in this case, we hold the cube like this and perform this algorithm you can see on the screen. So it's going to be okay. And now we've oriented the last layer. All right, so that's all for this video. I've been able to walk you through those 10 scenarios that you need to perform to look OLL. And like you can see, the cube is not fully solved yet. We have to solve the sides of that last layer, and that's something I'm going to review in future video. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.